Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how CEOs, founders, and senior executives sell their ideas, point of view, and personal brand to the people who matter most. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want to build market eminence, amplify your influence, and attract high-value prospects, investors, partners, talent, and media opportunities with less chasing and more confidence. Let's go. You should write a book. No, really, you should write a book. You are so smart. You are so good looking. Oh my goodness, you should write a book. If you've ever heard that advice and then asked yourself, okay, now what? I have the most fantastic expert to answer that question and many more. Clara Rose, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you are a book writing, book publishing, book marketing guru. For people that don't know, could you just share 30 seconds, or as much as you like, about the professional journey that brought you to the work that you're doing today, and what were some interesting pit stops along the way?
I actually, for many years, was a business development consultant. So I helped people start businesses or fledgling businesses that needed some growth. I helped them with that. And over the years, of course, what I started saying was, you need to write, speak, and lead, right? That's how we're going to get some influence. That's how you're going to grow your business. So let's look for places where you can write. So we started off actually doing magazines. Let's get you in some magazines, some newsletters. Where can we make your name pop up in print? Which became, you have something really interesting to say. You're unique, right? You need a book. So before the world was screaming, you need a book, I was preaching from my soapbox, you need a book. Let's create a book. The problem was that people didn't always have the greatest success, either trying to figure it out on their own, right? The whole self-publishing world, lots of mistakes made out of there, lots of really poor quality books resulted from people trying to do it on their own. And then, of course, people on the other side of the spectrum trying to get an agent so they could get a book deal was also a struggle. So I thought, there's a better way. And in 2013-ish, 10, I actually opened my first publishing company, I guess. And I just was saying, there's a better way. Right? Hybrid publishing is a better way. Let's do it this way. So for a few years, I continued consulting and helped people publish books. And in 2018, when I launched Rosedale Publishing, I'm like, that's it, right? I'm getting too old to do the stuff I don't want to do. I just want to focus on this piece. And so ever since, that's what I've been doing, just helping people create a book to use as a tool for their business, ministry, cause, or brand.
So let's dig in. I love what you just said there at the end: business, ministry, cause, or brand. So it's not, am I right that it's not necessarily 100% business books? It could be a different kind of book, but it's in alignment with some other goal beyond just selling books.
Yes. Totally okay. About it being a tool for something. So either a tool so I tell people there's like really three things that I help people from a tool perspective. It could be lead generation, right? A book for lead generation for your ministry, your brand, whatever. Or it could be client transformation within your business or whatever it is, or legacy work. Some people want to leave a legacy around what it is that they've done for years or whatever that looks like for them. So those are the three tools that I kind of help people create. So what do you need the tool for? That's what we create.
Yeah. I'm curious because you've been doing this so well for so long. People come to you, I'm sure, with all kinds of crazy, outdated, upside down ideas about writing the book, what kind of book, what length of book, what format, self-publishing versus traditional publishing, hybrid publishing. There's a zillion questions. I'm curious, what are the most fun of those basic questions that you love to answer to set people straight?
So here's one I get all the time. People will say, I know I need to write a book. I know I want to write a book, right? Everyone tells me to write a book, but I don't want to write a book. They're saying it's got to be about what do you want to be known for, right? So what if I make the wrong choice? What if I write a book because I want to be known for this, and then next year I decide I don't want to be that anymore. I want to be something else. I'm like, okay, so the problem is you're asking the wrong question. It is not about what do I want to be known for, right? That's not the book you write. The book that you write is the next tool that you need, right? So stop thinking about what do I need to be known for, because you don't have to just write the one book, right? What tool do you need now for lead generation or client transformation or legacy work? What tool do you need today? Let's create that tool. And then next year, when you need a different tool, let's create that tool, right? So that's the one that it's fun for me because it's so easy for them to go, oh, so I've been freaking out and stressing out and, over something that's because somebody once said, oh, write the book that you want to be known for, right? For the rest of your life until you die.
Yes.
Right? So that's a crazy one, in my opinion. Crazy. And then another one I get a lot is, well, especially now, why don't I just let AI write a book for me? And I'm always like, whoa, hold on.
Yes, do that. Please do that, because then the rest of us real authors will just look at you in the bargain bin and go, oh, well, that's no competition.
Right. For sure. First of all, AI is a search engine. Right. So you got to wrap your head around the fact that it's going to go out into the web universe and pull everyone's data, and then whatever commonalities there are, that's what it's going to come up with. So you're literally plagiarizing from everyone else instead of using your own voice. Right. Yeah. So why would you do that? It's not going to sound like you. It's not going to give you credibility, and it's not very accurate, honestly, at this point. So if that's the way you want to go, you're not my ideal client anyway. I want somebody who cares about their business, ministry, cause, or brand, and they want to create a tool for something, right? Yeah. So they're not my ideal client anyway. So
let's talk about AI, because I think AI as a writing tool is a terrible idea. Totally with you on that. AI as a brainstorming tool, AI as a development tool. Give us the good, the bad, and the ugly there, because I agree that it definitely is a two-sided, a double-edged sword. Rather, it's not a two-sided sword; it's a double-edged sword.
Double-edged.
What are the pros and cons of using AI as a brainstorming tool or as a synthesizing your thoughts kind of tool?
I love it for brainstorming. So I could tell my clients, AI is for ideation. Right? So you say, hey, okay, I have this idea. I want to build it out. Now ask AI to do your research, right? Because it is brilliant at doing the research. It's going to go out and scour the web, find what everyone's saying, and it'll bring you research. And so you can dive deep on topics in that way, but you cannot 100% rely on what AI has to say, because remember, it isn't discerning. It's going to just pull what everyone's saying, good or bad, right or wrong. It's going to pull it in and then tell it to you as though it's gospel, when it isn't necessarily gospel, right?
Yes, absolutely. My wife will sometimes refer to me as frequently wrong, never in doubt. And AI also frequently wrong, never in doubt. It will give you that answer with 100% certainty, even if it's 50% wrong.
Yes. And it doesn't know the difference, right? So but it sounds like a person. So it sounds convincing, right?
Very, very authoritative. Completely wrong, but very authoritative.
But wrong. That's right. So
let's talk about book length, because I've gotten, there's all kinds of books and there's all kinds of advice. There used to be a trend, and there's remnants of this throughout book writing, the landscape today. But there used to be a big trend: write a short book, write a mini book, write a micro book, write a book that's like basically a few blog posts. Then Of course, because for every reaction, there's an equal and opposite counter reaction. Yep. No, you have to write a thought leadership book. You have to write a big, fat, heavy, authoritative, definitive, ultimate guide to whatever leadership, parenting, financial success, whatever it is. So big book, small book, medium-sized book. What are people even? I think the tail's wagging the dog when someone says, I want to write a short book. It's like, okay, well, why? I want to write a really big fat book. Okay, why? Right? And so I think the length of the book is, you can't set out to write a short book or a long book. There has to be a purpose behind the publishing. What's your advice when people come to you with this bias towards short book, long book, etc.?
So I absolutely start with, okay, let's talk about who your audience is. Who's the book for, right? Because that makes a difference, right? In general, and this is a sad, sad truth, but across the board, our average comprehension level is like 8th or 9th grade. Right? So think about, who am I speaking to, right? If you're speaking to an audience that they're theologians, or they, PhDs, or they're, master level. Okay, now we can talk at a different level than the general populace. But if it's a general populace book, then we need to be aware that we need to stay within the 8th to 9th grade comprehension level. Our chapters need to be short enough that they're consumable for the short attention span that we have become, right? Look at all the YouTube shorts and all the little snippets of things that people let suck all of their time. It's because our attention spans are so short. So if you write War and Peace, right, this big old fat book with, chapters that are 3 and 4 and 5,000, words per chapter, people will not read it. And how can you possibly have a tool that will do anything if you can't get people to consume it? So we first start by looking at who our audience is so we can decide what kind of a book they'll need. And then I love to do this with my authors. Grab some of your favorite books off the shelf and let's talk about them, right? So when they get them in their hand, I'm like, how does that feel? Which is not literary at all, but how does that feel in your hand, right? I call it hand feel. So if it feels consumable, right? This is not so fat that it's going to take me forever, right? How does it feel in your hand? Is it open nicely? Is it formatted nicely? Can you read it? Is it, right? How do you feel about it? And people are like, what does that matter? Well, it matters because
huge, enormous.
Right? The end consumer is going to read your book. You want them to pick it up, easily consume it, enjoy it, and then become a raving fan. Like, oh my gosh, I loved this book, right? And part of that is how it feels and looks that is just part of it. If you have chapters that are hugely long, they're not going to fit that into their busy lives, most people. Now, I'm a total book nerd. I have a stack by my bed, like 4 books I'm reading at the same time, because that's the way that I'm wired. And I don't care as much about how fat they are. If I think there's value in it for me, I'm going to read that book, right? Yeah. But the normal, average, everyday Joe is not that kind of nerd, right? They want something out of it, right? They want to learn something or walk away with some value and you will lose them if you aren't taking those things into consideration.
Quick commercial interruption. Pitchy alert. In addition to this podcast, you are aware that I sell books, coaching, and private advisory services to CEOs, founders, and established experts who want to build their market eminence. If that's something you want to talk about, hop on my calendar at doitmarketing.com/call. Now, back to the interview.
I'm curious, because I've changed my position on this, and I wonder what you think about this next topic. My first 2 books, I just wrote The World According to David Newman. It's like, I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm not looking for feedback. I don't want beta readers, none of it. Book number 3, the Do It Selling book, I was like, beta readers. I was so cynical about this. I was like, let's try it. Worst case scenario, a whole bunch of people will feel involved, I'm not going to listen to them. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything with their feedback. And, I'm still the author. I'm still the man. If I want to take a little feedback, sure. If I don't, just make them feel important. Clara Rose, I will tell you, the beta reader feedback was so valuable, so helpful. It helped me avoid so many landmines. Some of the critiques that I got, I didn't even agree with. But when there's an overwhelming number of people that go, yeah, I don't get this, I don't like this, I don't understand this, I had to take it out. And so now I'm a huge fan of beta reading. What is your experience? What is your advice to your authors about should they use beta readers and how to use beta readers smartly if it's a yes?
I love the idea of beta readers. Now, in years past, I have encouraged my authors to not give it out to a bunch of different family and friends, right?
Oh yeah,
they all had a different opinions, different, right? I'm like, don't do that, right? Let's write the book. But last year, I actually joined someone else's beta program just to check it out. Right? Curious. What are they doing? How are they making it a positive experience? What value can I get from it? Right. And having gone through theirs, I went, oh, I'm liking this. I've actually made it a part of what I do with my authors now. And I even joined your beta with your brand new book that just came out, which I loved. Very short, but I loved. Great book. I highly recommend it. Been telling everyone about it. And everyone's doing it just a little bit different, right? The whole beta thing. But I have 2 books that are coming out in the new year, 2 authors. And one of them, we're going to do a chapter. It's a bigger book. It's a deeper book a little bit. So they have the beta group is going to do a chapter a week, right? You're going to give them a chapter. They're going to read it, give some feedback on a Zoom call. Right. So it's a little more in depth, but we're looking to build some other tools out of it.
That's great.
A course and some of those things. So we want lots of deep feedback. The other author, we're splitting it into 4 Zoom calls, and they'll get 3 chapters at a time. Right. So get 3 chapters. We'll meet every other week for 4 times to get feedback from them. So structuring a little bit differently, but the value that I'm finding in getting that feedback is things that you don't see because you wrote it, right?
Oh yeah.
You write what you think you wrote, not what you actually wrote, right? And even though it's been through a developmental edit, which is I do myself on every book, been through my final editor, my junior editor that works with me, even though lots of eyeballs have looked at it, people are still finding things. Hey, this didn't make sense. You said this here, but this here. Nobody else caught it, right? So it was that last minute opportunity to go, you know what? You're right. We said it was red over here, and over here we said it was purple, right? So those little things are just gold, right? Yeah. So the final product that gets put out to the world is as good as it possibly can be. And that's always my goal with every author. We want to put something out that you're so proud of that you don't care that it's forever, right? Someone buys it and it sits on their shelf and generations from now can still look at it, right? So I'm a huge fan.
Really, really good. I told someone back in 2023 that beta reading experience was so good that I will never write another book without beta readers. And as you very kindly mentioned about the Market Eminence book number 4 also had beta readers, fantastic folks like you offering feedback, what works, what doesn't work, anything confusing, anything screwy. So it's also, by the way, I want to ask you this next question. A lot of people wait to announce their book once the book is published. In my personal opinion, that is way too late. There needs to be like 17 touch points way before your book ever sees the light of day. That is soft mentions. You're planting seeds. You're getting people excited. There's a sense of anticipation because this writing and publishing process, this could take many months, right? It's not like, oh, press play and then magically my book is out. So talk about this writing in public, or this concept of getting some anticipation, getting some positive anticipation in the marketplace as you're writing your book long before it's ready to be bought online or anywhere.
I completely agree. I like 6 months, right? And I tell most of my authors, writing a good book is kind of like having a baby. It takes about 9 months to cook one up, right? So if we plan to be, launched in 9 months from now, in 6 months, we need to start showing it to the world, right? People need to know it's coming. You're creating this. And it does a couple of things. It starts to build some anticipation, right? But it also creates some accountability for the author, right? You've said this book's coming out. You continue to say this book's coming out. And as we go through the creative process, because we're creating it one chapter at a time, we can, at least in my business, I help authors. We get chapter 1 all the way to clean copy, right? So each of the nuggets are clean copy. Now we can go and pull out some of those self-quotes, some of those pop-outs. Now you've got some fodder for your social media, right? Yeah. Get that book cover done early so we can start, putting a few copies out there and say, hey, what do you think of this cover? Getting some feedback. Oh, that one made me, think of, whatever, right? So involving people gets people connected to the project, yes, but it also gives you so much valuable feedback along the way. I think 6 months easy is a great starting.
I had authors. By the way, you have lifetime employment, because so many people that embark on this book process are just totally lost in the woods. I'll give you a very quick, funny example just from last week. I had someone say to me, so I'm, my book is about to come out, and I want to build some anticipation. And I was like, okay. She says, what do you think about like a countdown timer on my website? What? Yeah, it's like, it's coming in 31 days and 22 hours and 79 minutes. I'm like, no one cares about that except you. You might want to have a little countdown timer, but you got to give people value. You got to give people something to get excited about. You got to give people some involvement and engagement in the process, saying, it's like, hey, my book's coming in 37 days. No one cares. This is the other thing that I think authors don't understand. They think that the world is waiting with bated breath. And that, man, once my book is on Amazon, Clara, there's millions and millions of people on Amazon every minute of every day. It's just going to sell itself. Of course, it's on Amazon. It's the world's biggest marketplace. I'm just going to write the book. I'm going to publish the book. I'm going to sit back and just watch those checks roll in from Jeff Bezos and all of his friends. So this is a recipe for a very disappointing book launch. I know you also help people get ready for a launch, market, and then the marathon. It's not just a sprint, it's a marathon.
Right.
What's your best advice for people who have finished their book? They're breathing, they're panting, they're like, whew, okay, my work is done. I wrote a book. And really, of course, that's the beginning. It's not the end. How do you guide them from the point where we hit the publish button?
So if you have waited until that point, right, it's already published, and there you're like sitting back and there's crickets and you're thinking, okay, now what do I do about it? I think stepping back and saying, okay, where's my target audience, right? Where have I been talking about this all along? And then have I done any of my press releases? Have I done, what have I done? I have a checklist that I give to my authors about halfway through the book. Like, okay, here's the places we're going to start talking about this. And part of that is press releases, right? Anybody who publishes anything, right, including people like us who do a podcast, we are content hungry. We need content on a regular basis. And so do all of the places out there you could send a press release, right? Local radio stations. There's so many avenues for getting your words out there.
Yeah.
Where could I go and speak and talk about my book? There's just a ton of different ways to get your book out there. Sit down and create a plan. I think that's the biggest mistake that people make, is that they don't bother to plan. If you're working with me, we've started that day one. We do a brainstorm and blueprint about the content of your book, and we start talking about right up front, okay, who's your audience? Where are they, right? When are we wanting to publish? So we know that we're talking about it soon enough, right? Yeah. So if you've waited till the very end and it's already out there, you still have to do the work, right? You still have to sit down and say, okay, what's my plan for getting it out to the world? Yeah. Because just because you write it doesn't mean they'll come. I promise you.
So I'm channeling our audience, and you said press release, and I'm thinking, wait a second. It is 2026. Are press releases still a thing? So, Clara,
Absolutely.
Tell us about why and how press releases are totally still a thing.
Well, anywhere that there's a news media of any type, any television, radio, paper, magazine, anybody who's putting out content, they're only putting out content because people are consuming it, right? Yeah. So all of those people need newsworthy content. Right? Yeah. They need us to say, hey, I'm a local person with this business, and my book is coming out, or my book is out. I'd love to, and of course you have to follow their rules, right? There's certain rules for writing a press release, certain rules for how you submit things, so it makes it easy for them. But those are, they want content. They want great copy. They want great guests. It's your job to inform them you're available.
Yeah.
Right. And you make it easy for them. Like, absolutely. Copy, paste. Now you're in the newspaper, right?
Yeah.
Oh, copy, paste. Yes. Let's have you on the show. Let's have you on the radio. Those are all great places. Free advertising, right? Get on a podcast. Everybody has a podcast. There's a bunch of them out there. Go find some that you could say, hey, I'd love to be on that podcast. They are doing something interesting. They have a great audience. I have something to say. Reach out. Hey, I'd love to be on your podcast.
Yeah.
Right? Those are all places to connect for free with your potential reader. And it's your job to do that.
And with a podcast specifically, it's not only they have a great podcast, but they have a podcast of my audience, right? So my target reader, my target market listens to this podcast. It can be as niche as you want it to be, but if they're your people and there's a podcast for your people, you need to be on that show talking about the ideas in your book.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Really, really great. I want to go just before, as we're sort of starting to wrap this up. One area that a lot of people overlook, because selling books is hard. You obviously help people sell a lot of books and be very successful with them, but selling books in bulk. So whether that is corporate sales, whether that is sponsored books, whether that is pre-selling books to a speaking audience that you're going to be in front of, what are some overlooked strategies to sell books in bulk instead of trying to sell onesies all the time?
Well, I think that a lot of people don't think about selling books in bulk, right? They just think I'm going to put it on Amazon and the world's going to, rainbows and butterflies, right? I'm just going to have these huge royalty checks just rolling in. Any place that they're going to go and speak, you want author copies in hand for back of room, right? You want to be able to sell them yourself and put your signature in them or write the middle note. Right. I mean, people want those. I have a bookshelf full of books that have been autographed by the author because I'm that kind of nerd. And there's a lot of us out there. We want that. We want those autographed copies on our shelves for the rest of our lives, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be able to get your books in bulk, which is another one of the benefits of hybrid publishing, right? Now you have access to purchase your author copies at cost, right? You're not having to go to a publishing house and buy them marked up so that you could go sell them, right?
Right.
That's not author centric, right? So that's part of the hybrid publishing model, is that you have access to those. Any place where you can go and speak. I have a lot of my clients who speak, but they'll also go and do events, right? Get some of your books. Go to your event, right?
Yeah.
People want to meet the author. People are curious. People are interested. Hey, I've always wanted to write a book. How did you do this? Right?
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the value of being able to take books somewhere. Now, if you get an opportunity to speak and they're not going to pay you, maybe they'll buy books, a book for everyone in the audience, right?
Yes.
Or, if they don't allow back of room sales, what can they give you, right? What will they do? Can you put one of your books in every one of the take-home bags, right? Yeah. It's those kinds of, don't underestimate the value of writing and speaking and leading to get your book out there.
Holy smokes, so much value in this episode. Listen, if you are loving what you're hearing, feel free to download, subscribe, tell a friend, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to The Selling Show. Now, back to the interview.
Well, I have two final questions for you. The final question is, where can people go to get connected and stay connected to more Clara Rose brilliance? But before we get to that, if folks were to take one overarching idea from all of this fantastic value that you just shared with us about thinking about writing, publishing, and marketing a book, what do you hope that overall takeaway idea should be for them?
Well, I didn't talk a whole bunch about it, but I think that something super foundational that people miss out on. They think, I'm going to write a book. So they sit down at their typewriter or whatever and start writing, right? The best thing that you can do if you're thinking, I'm going to write a book, is to sit down. I call it a brainstorm and blueprint. Plan your book, right? Mm-hmm. Plan, map it out. What's going to go where? Because that's foundational to a good book, right? That's where I want you to start. If you're thinking, this is what I need to do, that's where I want you to start. Either do it on your own or find someone, like my program, find someone to help you with it so that you have a plan to follow, right? Don't build your house without a blueprint. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Well, I'm going to throw in an extra question here because I usually ask, and I forgot this time. What are the various ways that you help authors? Like, what's on the menu as far as, small, medium, large, and supersize? What's on the menu?
Okay. Well, we do have the Savvy Author Academy, which is group, where you can show up weekly. There's accountability, there's lots of training, give you all the tools, everything you need to know for the 3 phases of book creation, which is brainstorm and blueprint. That's like the foundation. Create and correct, right? That's where we actually do the work, get our butt in the seat and do the writing, and then publish and promote. So those are the 3 phases. And so I help with those various phases in different ways in the group coaching, or you can work one-on-one with me, of course, if you want me to co-write with me, and I do all of your developmental editing. I've done a fair amount of ghostwriting as well. That's not my favorite thing, but I specialize definitely in helping people in whatever way to capture their voice, their unique voice that's authentic and sounds like them. So if you're absolutely, I don't want to be in a group setting, one-on-one's the way to go. If you're I love group settings, jump on into the academy because you still get me every week, right? You just don't get that one-on-one hand-holding. And there's so many different personalities. So whatever works well for you, if you need more hand-holding, maybe you want the one-on-one, or you're super busy executive who's like, I don't have time for the group stuff, the group BS, right? That comes with groups. I just want to work one-on-one with you. I'm happy to do that as well. So
tremendous. Now, where can people go to get connected and stay connected to more Clara Rose brilliance? What links should go in the show notes?
Okay, craftingyourmessage.com is my website. And then right on the homepage, it tells you how you can connect with me. There's a book building download. If you're thinking, okay, I'm going to just give this a whirl on my own, gives you all sorts of information that you need to know. Things that you need to avoid, the book parts, book pieces, different types of publishing. So that's a great place to start. That'll put you on my email list, of course. And then I just give regular value, not daily. I'm not one of those, I'm not going to spam you or get carried away, but I do like to give regular value and give you an opportunity to connect and say, hey, here's where I am in my journey to becoming an author and I'm stuck. How can you help me? So that's
tremendous. So all of those links will be in the show notes directly under this episode at thesellingshow.com. Clara Rose, you are a rock star. Thank you for being with us.
It was absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for having me, my friend.
And that wraps up another episode of The Selling Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, tell a friend, go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thesellingshow.com. See you next time.